What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Scale News Update. If you're not familiar with the show, this week we talk about the news topics that happened in the scale world of RC over the past week. If you enjoy this show regularly, hit the like button now so you don't forget. We got a bunch of topics for this week. A busy week, seemingly out of nowhere. Let's jump into it. First for this week, Proline blessed us with some 2.2 crawlers. Finally. I don't know how many years the 1.9 crawlers have been out. It's been a lot. But 2.2 crawlers, 5.25 inches tall, just barely slightly wider than the 1.9s, about by like an eighth of an inch is all. So super reasonable width. These things look fantastic, and they're available in both G8 and Predator. So whatever compound you may like, wherever you may be, they'll have one for you. This 5.25 inch tall height is kind of like that cut and shut height that people have been doing for quite some time. And now we've got them. So that's pretty cool. I love crawlers in general. Seeing them available in this form makes me happy. These are available already, and I've already seen people receiving them. These were announced last Tuesday or Wednesday, and people are already getting them by like Friday, Saturday. So wild stuff, but very cool. I like it. Also new this week from Proline, they made a post on social media stating that they had some new pre-painted comp wagon bodies, as well as some like pre-mounted impulse wheels in a bronze color. But you could get those with a handful of different sizes, but those were the basic ones. These comp wagon bodies, so 3 different paint styles. They say pre-painted. They look like a printed body, but I could be wrong for sure. Kind of cool. They're going to have covered windows. They use stickers instead. 3 styles. Now they are saying that these are a limited edition, limited quantity. Like they're not sure that they're going to do these. Don't 100% know why that is a thing, why they may or may not be doing these for such a short time. So interesting nonetheless. If you hate painting and you want something with a little bit more style than a basic, like tough color, 1-color paint job, something like that from Proline, then hey, I get it. And if either of those last couple of stories interest you and you wanted to run to the ProlineRacing.com website, well, you're gonna find yourself in a different place because Horizon has taken down the Proline website and redirected it to horizonhobby.com. If you type in ProlineRacing.com, it's going to take you to horizonhobby.com/Proline. So just condensing that brand into the regular Horizon website, which felt like I get that it is work to manage the multiple sites and things like that. I was just surprised to see this, I guess. Horizon obviously owns a lot of different brands, and not every brand that they have has its own website. Some of them just live on Horizon, but not all of them, like Axial, Losi, things like that. Now those are companies that have vehicles. Maybe that's going to be the distinction that they make between Arma and Axial versus Proline or things like that. Either way, it just felt a little weird. Now, it is one of those things like Proline's site, all of those brands or those sites. If you're on a product page for anything on previously Proline or Axial, Arma, and you just take the Proline Racing part and change it to Horizon Hobby, it just changed the way the site looks. The product information, all that stuff stays the exact same. It's just a mirror of the different sites, but with a different skin on the top of it, or theme, whatever you want to call it. It is just one back end, but for some reason they thought that they should remove the Proline site. No big deal at all. It's just weird. New this week from MyTrickRC, they've got a new version of their lighted whips. Now you can get them in a number of different colors. They mimic the whips that are used on full-size cars, on, like the dunes most commonly. Of course, you see them out on rock trails, through the woods, things like that. Also, this is just a new version, super flexible, super bright. They had these on display out at Proline, and you could see the cars that were running these things like up on the hill at night. They are wildly impressive. They have these available in different lengths, and they also have flags that you can add to them as well in a number of different designs. So if any of those look like something that you're interested, you can check out MyTrickRC. They also have light kits for a ton of other vehicles, things like that. So Check those out, MyTrickRC. I'll put a link to them down in the description below, as well as links to the rest of this week's stories. Next, new on Umagine, or will be there very soon, a couple of days after this goes live. Casadio RC, I think that's how you say it. My best guess anyway. He is releasing a new 3D printable Unimog in both a 4x4 and a 6x6 version. Now, Casadio RC has listed previously some really nicely done projects on Umagine. You can go to his storefront on Umagine and see a ton of super cool projects, but this one definitely looks like one of the coolest ones that I've seen. I haven't seen all of the details behind this thing yet, just the renderings that he's, that have kind of got posted up so far, but you'll find this on Umagine on November 30th. And if you're interested, you can use code Harley20 to save 20%. There's nothing that comes back to me. It just saves you a little bit of money. Some awareness there. I bought something today and I forgot to use the code myself though. So save yourself some money. Don't do what I did. But this thing's super cool. Go check out Umagine. They've got a ton of projects on there. RC related 3D print projects. Great prices, tons of cool projects. I just started a Project IJ myself and hope to get some progress done on that super soon. So if any of that sounds fun, go take a look. And if you're looking for more fun things to do, you can also find the link to the channel membership down in the description below. It's a stretch. Channel membership helps support the channel a little bit extra. You get additional videos. You get videos early. Scale News Update, you get the night before. After News Delight comes after the news. And it's just an extension of this show. You get a little bit of extra commentary, a little bit more candid. And we can also kind of catch up on what is going on around the channel. So if you're interested in any of that, you want to help support the channel, any extra, again, link down in the description below. But thanks everybody who watches any of the videos, and thanks to all the members that help support as well. And speaking of supporting, thank you to Bash Maps for supporting the Scale News Update. If you're not familiar with Bash Maps, it's built by RCers for RCers. And it's a mapping application that shows you tons of places you can go run your RC, whether it be a basher or a trail rig, hardline stuff, boats, airfields, hobby shops if you just need that information, as well as events that are happening near you possibly. You may have heard that a couple of times, or a few times even, on the last time I read this, because I did a bad job at editing. My bad. Now the app is free, but does have some ads, or you can get the pro version and get rid of the ads that are on there. If you're looking to download the app, you can find the QR code down in the corner there, or of course you can just go search Bash Maps on the App Store of your choosing. And while the map is the main feature of the website, they've also released a garage function, which has been one of the most popular parts of the app as of late. And in the garage, you can just sit there and scroll through, I think they said they've hundreds of thousands of uploads to it already, and you can include your builds on there as well. They also have like a leaderboard function on there, which kind of ranks people based on likes received in the actual garage as well, which is a cool new addition. And also they've added a marketplace function where you can go to just buy or sell RC. So just filtered down to only the things that we care about most in one app. It's a super nicely done app. It's well polished, no bugs, unlike my editing from last week. Thanks again to Bash Maps for supporting the Scale News Update. This Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, Matt is back from Japan. We're back to business as usual. Come watch the live stream with us both as we talk, I'm sure, very little about RC for a couple of hours. A little bit of RC in there, sprinkled. Come join us, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And if you work for an RC company and like to see any of your projects on the Scale News Update, shoot me an email to news@harleydesigns.com. Include a photo and a description, a link to where it will be found or can be found on your website. Love to take a look at that and see if we can get it included here on the Scale News. Next, a special announcement from Integy, a company that we don't talk about much anymore, or haven't talked about much on this show in like the 8 years we've been doing it. But they made this announcement on Facebook, and I'm just gonna go read through a portion of it. They made this a couple of weeks ago, but Integy just doesn't pop up into my feed all of that often. but I'm going to read you what this says. Since 1993, Integy has proudly served the RC community with quality parts and accessories. Over the years, we've worked with hundreds of resellers, importers, and hobby shops, not just in the US, but also worldwide. Now, in the latter portion of 2025, the key word is transition. The hobby is changing, and so must we. This year, we noticed that too many big distributors, backed by investors, not RC hobbyists, are more focused on increasing profit and financial returns than growing the hobby itself. They've become disconnected from real RC enthusiasts, hobby shops, and RC tracks, and not the future we want for the RC community. That is why we today are launching our new Integy Reseller Direct program. And from there, they go into how people can become a dealer directly through Integy rather than going through large distributors, how Integy has functioned in the US and maybe other places as well for quite some time. Now, the main thing about that is that obviously they're pointing out how certain distributors are kind of acting. Now, we've seen stories about other distributors over the last, we've seen a number of issues that have popped up with distributors and people changing course, things like that, over the last couple of years. And it was just interesting to see Integy make this post, kind of call out this thing in not so uncertain ways, and then announce the way that they're going to go direct with customers rather than go through these big distributors. Again, we don't talk about Integy that much. Integy used to be a company that you saw way more of than in the days of Amazon and things like that. It doesn't mean a lot unless you're super, plugged into things, but it's something it's an interesting post nonetheless, especially if you're watching this show, you might pay more attention to the RC scene than most people. So either way, interesting, just a little pin on the bulletin board to think about in future reference. New this week from Htech, they announced that they will be releasing the aluminum panel set for the Axial Gilamon. They've done these aluminum panel sets for a number of chassis up to this point. The Vanquish H10 Optic, the Axial Capra. They have aluminum panels for like their own little moon buggy chassis, and now I think the Gilamon. I don't think that there has been any others since then, but it's a cooler style than just maybe flat aluminum panels. They're a little thick, they've got some weight to them, but you can get them in tons of different colors, add some style if it's something you're into. It's kind of cool that they've done this. They've offered this to a bunch of people, or through a bunch of things, and you see them kind of pop up quite a bit as of late. So if you've got a Gilamon and you wanted to join in on that party, now's your time. Also, Htech has officially launched the aluminum pieces for the Vanquish VFD transmission. Now, the photo that I've got here, it's actually showing like 4 or 5 different products because they're all kind of sold piecemeal. So there's a spur gear cover, a shroud for the transmission, the main transmission housing itself, as well as the shift lever on top, and then of course the VFD or VFD parts that live within inside that, as well as aluminum posts included in that. So if you want the full buildup like is shown in the photo, there's quite a bit to it, but it is cool nonetheless. Laser etched with the Htech insignia on the transfer case, I believe, of that thing. Not too bad overall, looks pretty cool. In this week's RC10 segment, we've got some new tool sets from Team Associated. These are specifically branded as RC10. Both metric and imperial sets are available. They're kind of this cool clear top case thing with the graphics on there. Inside, the different sets have different things. One of them's got a Phillips screwdriver and a straight screwdriver, and then the other one's like just the metric drivers. If you're interested in exactly what they are, you can check the 2 links that are down in the description. You can see what's in there. But the handles themselves are tiny little driver handles, but they also have a separate handle that it comes with that you can put that driver into if you need some more leverage. But kind of cool to see like that 2-piece design like that. I'm not sure if that's done elsewhere or not. The tool pressed into the orange molded handle is a little bit familiar, but overall, it's just kind of cool, like the way that they're in a bubble top thing. It was like, oh, I haven't seen that type of packaging before. It also becomes its own stand for the tools when you don't use that top anymore. Next, another one from a company we don't talk about all that much anymore is RPM, and they've got these +2 lowrider arms for the Redcat lowriders, the only lowriders. Now, I didn't immediately know what this was after, but evidently the +2 refers to a full-size term in the lowrider world where they add 2 inches to the upper control arms of a lowrider, and it gives it a positive camber. So like where the top of the tire actually leans out of the vehicle by 2 degrees or so. The stock lowriders have 8-degree negative camber, like the way you would normally see it. This is a 10-degree change in the camber overall. If you're looking for that side of the accuracy of your lowriders, there you go, something new from RPM. This week, FMS officially released the Canyon RTR. So we saw some previews of this maybe a month or probably 2 or 3 months ago now, honestly, thinking back. But this is a new hard body vehicle from FMS with a different chassis underneath. Now, it's an all plastic chassis. Like there isn't frame rails to it. There's frame rails, but it's all molded into this like kind of wild shape to it, which is familiar because this is a Yikong underneath. A Yikong, the 41012, if I'm finding the exact chassis and comparing it to it. Axles, chassis, the whole thing appears to just be the same as the Yikong. Now, Yikong has a ton of these numbers, 41026s and 7s, 12s, 9, all of them. They're hard to keep straight. But it does appear from searching through and finding the same truck beyond that, other than the body that sits on top, which is unique to this FMS. Now, the body that's included, detailed up, it says that it's modeled after the Dubai supercar police vehicle, and you can actually get it with like the Dubai police like colors on the side as well. The one that is pictured here is not that one, but it's got like a yellow, blue, and white version of like some graphics that are on the side in case that's the version that you choose. They have both an RTR, which includes a battery and a charger, and an RS, which doesn't include the battery or charger, but still like more of a typical RTR like we would normally see. Now the price for the RTR is $485.99. The Yikong, you can get that chassis started at like $255 as an RTR. Of course, doesn't have a hard body, and then you can add different features or radio functions, things like that, as it goes up in that. But underneath it appears to be the same. It even appears to be the same wheels and tires that they're including on the vehicle as well. However, the FMS does have all of the functions and accessories on servos out of the box. The locking, unlocking differentials, 2-speed, all that kind of stuff. Functions out of the box, where the Yikong has, I think, the 2-speed servo set up, and the axles you actually have to either add the cables to or do it manually. They have versions that have all of that functional as well. If you're interested in it though, you can find a link to it down in the description below. But speaking of Yikong, they released a new one this week as well. This one's called the Tank 212. Now, Tank is a licensed, or is a real brand of vehicles overseas, I believe in China specifically is where it's popular. And this is an older version of like the Tank 300 that we saw released from Traction Hobby last year or the year before, maybe the year before that. I don't know, it's been a while, but a little bit larger scale to these things, that kind of like 8th scale crawler side. And it's got a bunch of functions to it as well. Locking, unlocking differentials, 2-speed, all of that stuff. Lots of lights, but Yikong is not a brand that we see often sold here in the US, only sold to the US from, distributors overseas for the most part. So never been a super popular brand here in the States, but not something that you can't get or can't get parts for if you're after it. Last week, Traxxas released the new Mini Rally VXL Ford RS200 rally car. A bit confusing at first with the name, I feel like. Now it's labeled Mini in the name, and that's because it's using the Mini Max chassis as the base for this thing. So underneath it's got this molded chassis, this great big rigid Mini Max chassis, which looks really good underneath of this body. But it's got the smaller wheels and tires, all of that stuff to it. It's not cheap, it is brushless, it is fast, but the Mini name is what's kind of deceiving because it's not that mini of a car. It's still got like a little over a 10-inch wheelbase. So it's not 10 scale, but it's not like what we usually think of Mini as. It's just a oddly named vehicle, it feels like. I don't know, it's a real weird mid ground, I would kind of say, for this type of thing. It is fast. It looks phenomenal if you like RS200s. I love RS200s, so I think it looks great. The details that they have worked into this thing for a Lexan body are killer. They did such a good job, which Traxxas always does a good job with bodies. They just do. It's got lights in the front that you can turn on and off. Not the headlights, but the rally lights across the top of the hood. The headlights don't function, but all around, it looks great. It's not cheap. It's priced like right up against the 10 scale Rally, just like $20 different or something like that, which that 10 scale Rally is a larger car. So it's a weird one, but it looks great. And then another rally car. Last week we talked about the Fast Tracks one that was being teased by FTX. Now we see that it's the FTX Mark II RS rally car. No guessing what brand this is supposed to be replicating. It's got the nice blue oval FTX logo on the front grille. And the body looks like no vehicle that's ever been actually produced by any real manufacturer. Not at all. It also looks really good. I like it a lot. The chassis on it is well done. It's got an aluminum base to it that looks well done. Carbon fiber in there, molded side guards with a Lexan tray that actually goes over top and secures before the Lexan body goes on to keep the actual chassis itself nice and clean inside. Looks really good. Really like it. Brushless as well. I don't know why I like the rally cars. I always think that they look fun and good. I just don't know how much I would drive them. Well, I've got a big rally Porsche here that I haven't driven yet, so there's that. And then Boom Racing released some new Pro Build Spin Force Classic wheels. These have just that old school muscle car style, and they have them in a bunch of different finishes, just like silver, dark gray, as well as the chrome version, which is what I have pictured here. It just looks super good. Now they teased these a week or two ago. Alongside these, they also teased the Fuke style wheels, which also look very good. So pretty cool overall. I like this wheel style. I mean, granted, they have like a certain type of vehicle that they would fit on, which I don't maybe feel like is probably the most common thing in like the scale crawler scene, because it's more of like almost it's like more of a muscle car type looking wheel, but you know, personal preference. People are gonna like them. Hey, and you can get a chrome version. You don't see that very often. But that's going to do it for this week's news topics. For this week's question, going back to earlier when I was talking about how I screwed up the editing of the bash map section last week, and then I couldn't fix it because YouTube was processing and checking the video for like all of the day. And by the time I got through it, I was like, it's not even worth removing at this point. Just let it go. So what I want to know for this week's question is, what's the last thing you screwed up? Let's hear it. Celebrate the screw ups. Sometimes it happens. We live and learn. But let me hear what yours is. Speeding ticket, strip some threads, bad paint job, all things that I know too well. Drop yours down in the comments below, or tell me where you're watching from, whether it's a geographical location or your physical location, which I'm concerned about reading the number of similar comments based on when this video, the time of day this video comes out. So anyway. Drop them down in the comments below. Always love reading it. My favorite part of the Scale News update. And thanks for nobody pointing out the fact that I screwed up the editing last week. That was super helpful. But with that, thanks again for watching. We'll see you guys on the next one.